it's just going to be so difficult to overturn something like a Kyogre out of that #1 position. But once the event happens, we'll get the stats out for it, and if it ends up being significant, I will absolutely do a deep dive on Kingler depending on how good that move is going to be. What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW videos. I never thought I would utter these words out of my mouth. We are about to do a Kingler deep dive in Pokemon Go. Because of the new move CRABHAMMER, it's going to hit you like an absolute tidal wave. I got paid to say that one. Yeah, thanks for that one, swag man. All jokes aside though, we're going to be talking about this new King of the Sea, the Pokemon from the raid perspective, from the PvP perspective. Not as much of a bright light on that one, but I am so excited to talk about it. So many people have just absolutely embraced this Pokemon. They're excited to see a new Pokemon from that water typing, and it all came down to a new moveset. I'm personally very excited about it. If you do enjoy this type of video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Kingler with a max AP of 2,829. Kingler is a pure water type Pokemon. Taking a look at this Pokemon's statistics, its best stat is that attack stat at 240, ranked at 40th in Pokemon Go. Its worst stat, of course, being that stamina stat, which means this is definitely going to be a little bit of a glass cannon, which is a little bit expected. When we take a look at some of the raids, you are going to see more feints as opposed to something else that could be a little bit denser, such as a Kyogre. So let's go ahead and take a look briefly at the moveset, see what we have going on with this Pokemon. The ideal moveset that you want to have from the water typing is, of course, the Bubble, as well as the new move CRABHAMMER. It also has a legacy move, so maybe keep a lookout for that. But we're mostly going to be talking about this Pokemon from a water typing perspective. So why don't we go ahead and jump into two simulations related to the raids. So let's go ahead and start off with a little bit weaker of the results. We're going to be going up against the Golem, which will be double weak to that water typing. As you can see, Kyogre barely inches out the victory over Kingler. As far as the estimated time is concerned, we're talking about 0.2 seconds, but the main differential between these two Pokemon is going to be centered around the number of feints. So Kingler gaining 12 feints versus Kyogre getting 8 feints. At that point in time, you're going to have to kind of see it as an opportunity cost. For the most part, Kyogre would be the better option because you will feint a lot less, but the lines get a lot blurrier when we go over to the results versus an Entei. Check this out, for the first time ever, we have a new water type attacker. So it is not necessarily sorted into the time to win, but as you will see for the time to win for Kingler, it actually beats Kyogre by a total of 5 seconds to propel it into that #1 spot from the water typing perspective. But as you can see, you're still going to have way more feints, 24 feints versus Kyogre at 16. So in this case, there is going to be a cost associated to it. You will, of course, feint a lot more, but the benefit surrounded by this Pokemon in this case is the fact that it does perform better. Now, I will go ahead and say, you know, there's a lot of hype going on with Kingler, and it is justified from like the DPS perspective, but something that you have to keep in mind is just the Pokemon in actual practice and keeping the number of feints in mind as well. If you're out there doing a raid with like 20 Pokemon, it's definitely going to be a smart idea to go ahead and use a Kingler. If you're using a less amount of trainers, then definitely go with the original King Kyogre. It's going to feint less. It's going to, of course, do a lot better for you longer term. And just because it's simply not feinting as much, you're going to have to consider what will be the best option for you. But who would have thought a Pokemon like Kingler comes out of nowhere just because of a new moveset? And to be honest, I think that this kind of furthers the argument where we've talked about the value of legendary Pokemon getting lowered over time just because they're so expensive to get. They're expensive to get all of the candy for. You can only catch them at level 20, level 25. You're having to spend a lot to power them up. And then you have a Pokemon like Kingler, a non-legendary Pokemon from Generation 1, all of a sudden is flirting with that #1 spot versus a legendary Pokemon. That is absolutely insane. Who knows, maybe that deserves a topic for another day. So when we talk about this Pokemon from a PvP perspective, I do want to go ahead and say I truly do believe that the reason why we got CRABHAMMER was centered around PvP. As you can see, it does have a status-inducing move. However, the major benefit for this Pokemon is going to be on the raid side, not from the PvP perspective. We have seen something like this in the past where Pokemon Go sent out an announcement saying, hey, look at this new Pokemon, it just got this move, look at this one, check out this Moltres with wing attack. And to be honest, people are not going to necessarily use it from PvP, and even if they do, the major takeaway is on the raid side. So I do think Kingler kind of falls into that. When I ended up taking a look at the different leagues, so Great League, Ultra League, Masters League, Kingler was nowhere to be found. That stamina stat is detrimental as far as its performance is concerned in PvP. And then secondarily, it just doesn't have a good moveset when you're talking about like additional coverage or additional type effectiveness as far as the Pokemon's moves are concerned outside of Crabhammer. So we have a lot of great news from that raid side. PvP, not so much. But at the end of the day, what did we really expect out of a Pokemon like this? To be honest, I'm just sitting here baffled that a Pokemon like Kingler is all of a sudden running toe-to-toe with a Pokemon like Kyogre. Never in my wildest dreams did I think something like this would happen. I talked about it 10 months ago as far as the stat reworks occurring, saying that it could make it a little better. We just need a good moveset. And here we are 10 months later, finally getting Crabhammer added in. And all of a sudden, this becomes a Cinderella story, a Pokemon that came completely out of left field, and something that we are definitely going to have to take into consideration moving forward. But anyways, I want to know what you think about Kingler in the comments section below. Do you plan on using it? Are you going to transfer all of your Kyogres? I know I am. Either way, let me know in the comments section below, and I will see you next time. If you want to develop a deeper connection, I would highly recommend you to check out Patreon. We've got a lot of really cool things going on over there. Check out all of these supporters that we have. We are almost up to 100. We are also posting some special content, some behind the scenes work. And if that is the type of thing that interests you, I would highly recommend you to check it out.